Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make this really cute and easy crochet summer top. So let's get right into it. For this project, I'm going to be using this super fine 100% cotton yarn with a 2.5mm hook and a 3.5mm hook. For this project, you can really use whatever yarn weight or yarn type you prefer, but I do suggest using cotton yarn, and I do feel like using thinner yarn looks better for this project, but again, it's totally up to you to choose whatever yarn you want to use. So this is what I'm going to be using, but you should use the recommended hook size for the yarn you're using and have a second hook that's 1mm above the recommended hook size. You're also going to need a couple of stitch markers and a darning needle to weave in your ends, and that's pretty much all you're gonna need. So we can now get started with the tutorial. So to make this top, we're first going to start by making this big triangle, and we're gonna start by making a foundation chain that is as long as your under boob. So if you're not sure of how much to chain, I'm gonna give you guys a little tip. So what you should do is take a bikini or a bra that you like the fit of it, and then chain as much as the under boob. So for example, my chain goes from here to the other side of the under boob. So that's how much I personally chained, and it worked out really well for me. So that's what I suggest you to do. Alright, so the amount of chains that work for me is 41 with this type of yarn. So to start, I'm going to make a slip knot. To do that, I roll my yarn on my two fingers like this, making an X shape. Then I grab my hook, pass it underneath here, and grab the yarn over here. Turn my fingers and take them off and pull. Then I pull again to adjust it to my hook. We can now start chaining. So to chain, you just have to yarn over your hook and pull through. That's one chain. The loop on your hook does not count as a chain. Yarn over, pull through. That's 2. Yarn over, pull through. 3. Yarn over, pull through. 4. So on and so forth until your chain is large enough to fit your under boob. Alright, so here I have my 41 chains. Once you're done making your chains, we're going to start crocheting. So here's the front of the foundation chain. If we turn it around, you're going to see little loops like this, and we're going to crochet in those. Those are the back bars of the chains. So the first thing we're going to do is skip the first back bar and insert our hook in the second one. So right over here, just like this. And make a single crochet. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. So here's our first single crochet. Then we're going to go over to the next back bar, insert our hook in there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Here's our second single crochet. Same thing, next back bar, insert your hook, make a single crochet. That's 3. And so we're going to make single crochets all across the foundation chain. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you guys when I reach the end. All right, so here I'm almost done with my first row. I have my last back bar over here. So I'm going to insert my hook in it, just like this, and make my last single crochet of the row. So now we're done with our first row. So what we're basically going to do is make a decrease every 4 rows. So now we're going to make 2 more rows just like this. And then on the 4th one, we're going to decrease. So after you're done making your first row, what you're going to do is turn your work. And in this pattern, we're never going to chain 1. So once you turn your work, you're going to insert your hook in the first stitch and make a single crochet. Just like this. And you're going to make single crochets all across the row. So now next stitch, I'm going to make a single crochet. Next stitch, single crochet. And we're going to do that all across. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll see you guys when I reach the end. All right, so here I'm done with my second row. The third row is going to be the exact same. So we're going to turn our work and start crocheting in the first stitch of the row without chaining 1. So insert your hook in the first stitch and make your single crochet and make single crochets all across the row. Alright, so continue making single crochets all across, and I'll see you guys then. Alright, so here I'm done with my third row, and as I said previously, we're going to decrease every 4 rows. So this next row is going to be a row of decreases. So we're going to turn our work, and so we're going to decrease in the beginning of the row and at the end of the row also. So to decrease, we're going to insert our hook through the first stitch, yarn over and pull through. And then we're going to insert our hook in the second stitch, yarn over and pull through. We have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through the 3 loops. And here's our decrease. Now we're going to make single crochets all across until we have 2 stitches left, and in these 2 last stitches we're going to decrease. So you can just continue making single crochets normally throughout all of the row except for the 2 last stitches. And so here I'm almost done with my 4th row. I have 2 stitches left here, and here we're going to decrease again. We're going to insert our hook through this stitch, yarn over, pull through, insert your hook through the last stitch, yarn over, pull through. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook. So here is our 4-row repeat. All right, so we're going to repeat this 4-row repeat until we have 1 to 3 stitches left. So because we are decreasing in the extremities, your work is gonna look like a triangle. So the more you get to the top, the less stitches you're gonna have. So let me show you guys again how to make this 4-row repeat. So once you're done with your 4th row where you have the decrease, you turn your work. And you have to make 3 rows of single crochets without decreasing, and then in the 8th row you have to decrease again. So again, we turn our work and insert our hook in the first stitch and continue making single crochets all across. Alright, so here I'm done with my 5th row. I'm going to turn my work and make my 6th row. Again, I'm going to insert my hook in the first stitch and make a single crochet and make single crochets all across the row. Alright, so here I'm done with my 6th row. I'm going to turn my work and make my 7th row, again by inserting my hook in the first stitch and making single crochets all across the row. Alright, so 7th row is done. So now I'm going to turn my work and start row 8. Row 8 is a row of decreases because we decrease every 4 rows. So I'm going to show you guys one last time how to do this. You insert your hook through the first stitch, you yarn over and you pull through. Then insert your hook in the next stitch, you yarn over and pull through, and yarn over and pull through the 3 loops on your hook. So that's your decrease. Then you're going to continue making single crochets all across until you have 2 stitches left at the end. Alright, so here I have 2 stitches left. We're going to decrease again by inserting our hook through this stitch, yarn over, pull through, insert your hook through the last stitch, yarn over, pull through. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook. Alright, so repeat this 4-row repeat over and over again until you have 1 to 3 stitches left. Alright, so here I'm done with all of my rows. You can see that I have this pretty big triangle, and I decided to leave 2 stitches left here at the end. So the amount of stitches you leave at the end is going to be the thickness of your strap, but actually it's going to be a little bigger because we're going to crochet on the edges here to make them straighter and cleaner. So just keep that in mind when you decide how many stitches to leave here at the end. Alright, so when you're done making all of your rows, we're now going to start crocheting the strap. So we're basically just going to continue making rows of single crochets until we have our desired length for a strap. The strap that I make for my top is about 20 inches, so you can really make them as long as you want. So what I suggest you to do is to make a bunch of rows and then act as if you were putting the top on and see if you feel like the straps are long enough. So basically just put the base of your triangle under your boob and act as if you were putting the top on. So it's pretty easy to make the straps. You basically just have to turn your work, insert your hook in the first stitch and make a single crochet, insert your hook in the second stitch and make a single crochet. I mean, if you're making 3 stitches, you're gonna have 3 stitches here, but I only have 2. When I'm done doing that, I'm just gonna turn my work and restart the same process. So this goes by pretty quickly because every row only has 2 stitches for me. So again, here's my last stitch and I'm gonna make my single crochet. And I'm basically just going to repeat that over and over again until I have the right length for my strap. Alright, so I'm gonna do my strap and I'll see you guys then. Alright, so here I'm done making my strap. As I said before, it's about 20 inches long. And now the next step is going to be to go around all of our work and make the edges straighter. This step is optional. You really don't have to do it if you don't want to. I just prefer to do it. Alright, so we're basically just going to single crochet at the edges of our work. So to do that, you want to chain 1 And we're gonna start with this side over here. So if you pull on your work a little bit, you're gonna see that there's little holes. So we're going to insert our hook in those. So to start, we're going to insert our hook in the first hole right over here. We're going to insert our hook there and make a single crochet. We're gonna go over to the next hole and make a single crochet there too. And we're gonna repeat that all across. So next hole is right over here. Next hole is right over here. Next hole is right in here. Next hole here. Alright, so repeat this all across your strap, and I'll see you guys when I reach my cup. Alright, so here I'm done crocheting over on my strap, and I reached my cup, and the cup is pretty much the same thing that we're gonna do. We're basically just going to find the closest holes from the edges. So for example, over here. Then if we pull our work a little bit, we're gonna find another hole over here, close to the edge, like this. The next hole is in here. Next hole is here. So on and so forth. So you're just gonna have to do that all across your triangle, and then we're gonna go back over here, move upward here, and then do the strap again. All right, so here I'm done crocheting this side. I'm gonna start doing the bottom here of the cup, and this part is going to be a lot easier because we can just insert our hook through the stitches over here. So my first stitch is right in here. I'm gonna make a single crochet there, then another single crochet in the next stitch, so on and so forth until I reach the other end of the cup. And just to make things easier, just put a stitch marker in the first stitch of the bottom of the cup. Alright, so I'm now done going over this side. We can put a stitch marker also in the last stitch of the bottom cup. And now we can go back upwards over here and on the strap too. So I'm just gonna let you guys do this because it's the exact same thing but on the other side. Alright, so here I'm done doing this side and going over my strap. So once you get to the top of your strap, you can just slip stitch in one of the top stitches to finish your work. So slip stitch like this, then you can chain one and pull some yarn, and then you can cut it. Now you can go ahead and make a second one just like this, and I'll see you guys then. Alright, so here I'm done with my 2 cups. The next step is going to be to make the strap that goes around your back. So the first thing you're gonna have to do is measure the distance from the end of your boob to the middle of your back and add 20 inches to that, and that's going to be how long your chain should be. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll see you guys then. Alright, so I'm gonna make a slip knot and chain 200. So this number is going to be different for everybody. So yeah, I'm going to chain 200 and I'll see you guys then. All right, so here I have all of my chains. The next step you're going to want to do is take one of your cups and place them upside down like this. Now we're going to single crochet all across the bottom here to attach the strap with the cup. And where you have your stitch marker is where you have to start single crocheting. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to remove my stitch marker. I'm going to insert my hook in that stitch, yarn over, pull through. I have 2 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through 2. So here our strap is attached. So now we're going to continue making single crochets all across our row, well, our work, I guess, just like this, until we reach our other stitch marker. All right, so here I reached my stitch marker. I'm going to take it off and make my last single crochet in here, just like this. So now the next step is going to be for you to figure out how wide apart you want your cups to be. So measure out the distance between your boobs, and then you're going to make a chain that's as long as the measure you got. I'm personally going to make 13 chains, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So once you're done making your chains, you're going to take your second cup and repeat the same thing. And so we're going to make single crochets all across the bottom of the second cup, and we're going to start where the stitch marker is. So I'm going to take that stitch marker off, insert my hook in that stitch, and make a single crochet. And I'm going to continue making single crochets all across until I reach my next stitch marker. Alright, so here I have reached my stitch marker. I'm going to take it off and make one last single crochet in that stitch, just like this. So now our two cups are joined, and now we're going to start chaining again to make the other strap. So chain as much as you chained on the other side. So I'm going to chain 200 right now. All right, so here I'm done with all of my chains. So now I'm going to turn my work. So once you've turned your work, we're going to crochet all over the chains to make them thicker. So what I like to do is to make slip stitches all across my chains until I reach the corner of my cup. So there's two ways you can do this. You can either crochet in the back loops of the chains, or you can do as we did in the beginning and slip stitch in the back bars of the chains, and that's what I prefer to do. So if you prefer to do it in the chains like this, you're just gonna have to skip the first one and insert your hook in the back loop like this, yarn over, pull through, and pull through again to make a slip stitch. Then you're going to go over to the next one and do the same thing. So insert your hook in the back loop, yarn over, pull through, and pull through again. And you're going to repeat that all across, back loop, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. But as I said, I prefer to work in the back bar, so I'm going to turn my work, skip the first back bar, and insert my hook in the second one, yarn over, pull through, and pull through again to make my slip stitch. Then I'm going to go over to the next back bar, just like this, yarn over, pull through, and pull through again. Next back bar, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and pull through again. So I'm going to go ahead and do that all across my chains. So here I'm done slip stitching all across my chain, and I'm going to restart making single crochets all across my cup. So go on to your first stitch and make a single crochet, and continue making single crochets all across the bottom of the cup. Alright, when you get to these chains, you can also make single crochets all across them and make single crochets all across the bottom of the next cup. So to make the single crochets in these chains, you can either crochet in the back bars or in the back loops. That's totally up to you. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll see you guys then. Alright, so when you're done making your single crochets all over here, you're going to go back in your chain and make slip stitches all across like we did for the other chains. So when you're done with your slip stitches, you're just going to pull some yarn, cut it. Now you can make a knot with these two tails and weave them in. Alright, so we're now going to move on to make the ruffles. So to make the ruffles, you're first going to make a slip knot with a new piece of yarn, just like this. And you're going to take your hook and you're going to add 1 millimeter. So I was previously using a 2.5, I'm now using a 3.5 millimeter hook. And so we're now going to make double crochets all across here, and we're going to make increases to get that ruffle effect. So the first thing you're going to do is yarn over your hook, and you're going to have to insert your hook at the bottom of your cup. So right in here, you're going to yarn over and pull through. You have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 to make a double crochet. Now on the next stitch, we're going to make 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook in the same stitch, the same hole, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. And you're going to repeat that all across. So the next stitch is going to be a double crochet alone. So here's my double crochet. And then on the next stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochets to make an increase. So here's my first double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook in the same stitch to make your increase. Just like this. next stitch 1 double crochet, next stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. So you're going to do that all across the bottom of your cup, and you're going to stop here at the other corner. Right, so once you're done doing all of your double crochets increases, you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and you're going to turn your work. And now from now on, we're only going to make double crochets in every stitch without increasing. So here we're going to skip the 2 chains we just made. So skip 1, 2, and insert our hook in the first stitch of the row and make our double crochet. Just like this. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook in the second stitch, make a double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, double crochet. And so we're going to continue making double crochets all across the row. Okay, so here I'm done with my second row of double crochets, and so we're going to repeat the same thing over and over again until you feel like your top is long enough for your taste. So how many rows you make is really up to you, depending on how long you want it to be. I personally make a total of 13 rows. Just to show you guys one last time, you have to chain 2, turn your work, and make double crochets all across. So to start again, you have to skip the 2 chains you just made and insert your hook in the first stitch of the row and make your double crochet, and then make double crochets in every stitch all across. Alright, so go ahead and do that, and I'll see you guys when I'm done with my rows. Alright, so here I'm done making my 13 rows. So what I'm gonna do now is just chain 1 and pull some yarn. I'm gonna cut it and weave in my end. Alright, so now you can go ahead and do the exact same thing on the other side, and then you're gonna be done with your work. Alright, so once you're done with the other side, you're officially done with your project. So I really hope you enjoyed making this top. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more crochet tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.